Ready? Energy. Up. Chill.
Sydney-sider Julian Evans has a black belt in martial arts.
There's an opening. Wow, another one. Good, excellent. All right.
He recently got a job teaching up-and-coming students.
I teach Taekwondo. I have several classes that I run, weekend, weekday. It's maybe 5 or 6 hours a week.
From fighting gear to hospital scrubs, he's also become a master at coping with underemployment.
My primary job is at the hospital where I'm a theatre orderly. That's 15 hours a week that I do there, and that's a spread of hours, it's casual. Yep.
10 years ago, Julian was made redundant from his full-time job at a call centre.
I have my 3 children, my 2 nephews, we've got all the rent, all the bills, just to maintain basic living. Not quite poverty line, but I'm nudging it, definitely.
These days, he can't even rely on his 2 or 3 shifts at the hospital to make ends meet.
So I just emptied my bank account this afternoon on petrol. I had enough for a $2 cup of coffee from 7-Eleven, and here we are. And I have $7.30 of Woolworths vouchers from cashing in bottles yesterday.
On the weekends, for extra cash, he also has a paper round, and his 7-year-old son helps him out.
It's about 12 kilometres that I walk, just throwing them around the neighbourhood.
As well as these different jobs, there's also occasional volunteering advocating for jobless people. Working about 25 hours a week, Julian Evans is hardly unemployed. He's underemployed, which means he has work but can't get the hours he needs.
I've just come to realise that's definitely what I am. 100% underemployed. I know that I'm capable of earning more money, certainly, and of working more hours.
The unemployment rate today, I believe, is good news.
This is a very great outcome for
We've
Australia.
delivered more than 1 million jobs.
The 1 million jobs number has been reached.
For years, politicians have been bringing us the good news about the unemployment rate. But when just 1 hour of work a week can be counted as employed, these numbers don't tell the full story. There are now more than 1 million underemployed people like Julian Evans, far more than the 680,000 people who are unemployed.
So we don't have a good understanding of why underemployment has risen so much. It seems that their demand for part-time jobs has grown more than what workers actually would like. So we've seen a big growth in the number of people who are working part-time but would actually like to be working full-time.
Over the past 40 years, as the unemployment rate has had its ups and downs, the rate of underemployment has been rising steadily, although it's fallen back slightly of late to 8.2%. Both men and women can get caught in the underemployment trap, but the problem is far more common for working women. For them, the rate of underemployment is now above 10%. For workers in their 30s, 40s, 50s and older, underemployment is increasing at about the same rate. But for younger workers aged between 15 and 24, almost 20% can't get the work they need. An hour outside Melbourne, in the coastal centre of Frankston, youth unemployment is approaching 1 in 5. Anecdotally at least, underemployment is even higher.
I don't know a single person that actually has a full-time job at this point.
Sky Dejale is 18 years old. She has a casual job in retail. Some weeks it's full-time hours, others just a couple of shifts.
Working on 10 hours a week, obviously I do sit next to my phone and I do wish for the phone to ring.
It's a wait that requires patience. Everyday expenses are a constant worry.
Car insurance, cats, necessities like toilet paper, it all adds up, and by the end of it we're down to the last $20, and that's what our food comes to.
Because that seems like your sort of style.
Yeah.
So pop down here.
Today, Sky Dejale is meeting with caseworkers from the local Brotherhood of St Lawrence to pick out some second-hand professional clothes that could help her find a job with more hours.
All right, so there's a couple of colours for you to try.
Yeah. I think we've seen a real trend with employers. I describe it as a churn and burn, employ too many and pick the best from the bunch.
Hey Sky, how you going?
Rebecca Wilmot runs an employment program in the area that's helped more than 1,000 people try to find work over the past 2 years.
So I know that we were going to talk about that interview you've got for next week. How are you feeling?
We saw an employer advertise 20 positions for 10 to 15 hours. Now, that could have been 5 opportunities of full-time hours for a young person. Young people really do want full-time work.
But employers say it's not that simple, and the rate of casual labour hasn't changed in 2 decades.
Well, I challenge the whole underemployment argument. We've got to question whether there's an awful lot of people that want more hours. There are some, always will be, and what we've got to do is have a good business so we can actually do that.
Under our stewardship...
The Jobs Minister, Kelly O'Dwyer, wasn't available for interview, but told 7:30 the vast majority of the jobs created over the past year have been full-time.
We have workers now on low wages. We have wages are not growing. Everything's going up except for wages, and now insecure work. That's feeding into consumer and business confidence. That's why we have an anaemic economy.
Julian Evans has been struggling financially for a decade.
I used to cross my fingers and hope that we'd end up on the other side a lot sooner than we would, but it seems like it might be another few years.
He's busy taking any work he can find to provide the very basics for his family.
It's very definitely an employer's market at the moment because everybody wants a job and there aren't enough jobs to go around.
What are you doing tonight? Get some ice cream?
Yeah.